Hello, hello, hello. Is this thing going? Testing, testing. Not sure if anyone's here right now, or if it's just me and my thoughts. Hello, I'm crying. There is someone here. Welcome. Ah, you're real? I think so. I think so. I'm wondering if everyone is just enjoying their Saturday. Hello, Sammy Koo. OMG. OMG is right. We're drawing for real this time. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. How does everything sound? I ran a few tests before I went live. Changed some filters and stuff. I want the pencil sound to come through a little bit, but that also means other sound in the environment will come through as well. But I'm willing to be tolerant of that. Sounds great. Nice. Hello, SIP, CYP. Welcome. Hello, Mango with a gun. What pencils do you use? I use a regular .5 mechanical pencil with HB lead. And maybe I'll use just a wooden pencil with HB lead. No specific pencil, but that's it. How's everyone doing? You have hope now? Why do you say that? You thought I was using like a bunch of different grade pencils, like professional drawing pencils and stuff. Or do you only use mechanical pencil? Mechanical pencil's the best. It is my favorite tool. Is your name pronounced Sip? I've been saying Sip. CYP asks if you had one. I'm sorry, if you had to describe your art or how you want your art to be perceived in one word, what would it be? Curious and says a lot about the artist. One word. I feel like I would choose a different word for both of those scenarios. If it's me describing my art and how I perceive it, one word? I don't know. One word won't do it justice for me. But if I could say one for myself, it'll be peaceful, maybe. I have a lot of one words I'd like to pick, though, like ethereal, tranquil, divine. I like those words. But for other people, if I had to pick one word that other people would use, I'm not as concerned. I would probably just say nice or cool. I'd hope people think it looks nice, but that's about it. I prefer to think long and hard about the one word I would choose. I'm a bit on the spot right now, so. Semiku says, I like how you used a darker value for the face while the hair was glowing with a higher value. Yeah, that is something that I'm trying to pull out. I'm building up the values and layers. I want most of the figure to be a darker value, but the hair will be lighter. The background will be mostly dark as well. So lots of hours to go on this. Divine is perfect, you would say. Oh, thank you. I am keeping that one in the back of mind all the time. It's a bit of a pocket compass. It is indeed a difficult question, but love the answer. Oh, thank you. Welcome, Discord email. Oh, hell yeah, traditional. You got that right. Do you guys by any chance hear my upstairs neighbors like stomping around? Because every time they take a step, and they take very large steps, um, I can see the meter of my microphone level just spike with each step. Wondering how that comes through. Not at all. Okay. I hope so. It better stay that way. They know I'm streaming. I've never met them. They don't know I'm streaming. That just sounds like ambience. Okay, cool. Maybe one day I'll rid myself of my paranoia about my sound environment. Something I get very particular about. My neighbors can hear me drawing vaguely naked space girls. That's a new sentence. Congratulations. Sip says first stream, right? Like first traditional stream? Yeah. Definitely not the first stream on this channel. If I'm interpreting that correctly. I've been doing some traditional streams in the voice channels in my Discord server, but haven't got the time and settings all prepared for doing it on the channel until recently. And I had some time and a big drawing I recently started on, so decided to take it over here instead. Am I fully self-taught? I always have to answer that question carefully, or like give a caveat or an explanation. I didn't go to art school. The only art classes I've had were just random ones in high school and college, non-art college. Did I take courses and stuff online? No. So I guess yes, but I don't like saying I'm self-taught because I'm learning from things that weren't internal self discoveries all the time, you know. So no, I don't have any formal training in art. I'll say that. Mason says, "Are you Ergo Josh?" No, I'm not. I'm Kyo. You can call me Kyo. Wait, what is a spongy thing besides you? This is a makeup sponge pad. I just use it to diffuse pencil marks, like smudge big areas into the paper. Makes very soft patches. It's like a giant blending sub, basically. I'm crying says you're in the background of my cooking mushrooms. Well, I hope you enjoy your YouTube content to accompany your cooking. I'm glad you chose my content. Hi, Iz, welcome. OMG, you're not just a figment of my imagination. You know, everyone tells me that. Everyone's surprised that I'm a real person. It's like I surprise them more than anyone else they know that I'm actually real. I get that so often. I wonder how I should take that. You're stealing that technique. It's nice. It puts down, if you're on really smooth paper, it puts down just the right softness. It leaves less texture behind than a blending stump. So I can cover a big area of just smooth, dark, throw down messy lines and then smooth them out. Like it's like a blur tool, basically. As long as you don't start sponsoring Genshin, that's a sin. I would never do that. I was convinced you were AI. What? I would never be AI. Never. Discord email says, you just radiate cosmic energy. Hard to believe you're on our plane of reality. Well, I'm honored that you think that. How do you manage to, Mango with the Gun says, how do you manage to preserve your traditional art without it smudging and fading? You mean like over time, over long stretches of time, or while I'm just working on it? While I'm working on it, the most I'll do when I start getting a lot of graphite on a paper, if I don't want it to get on my hand or smudge around with my palm, I'll just put a sheet of paper beneath. But if you mean like preservation, like in the long term, I just put it in a portfolio, a physical portfolio with like plastic sleeves when I'm done with it, and it's kept closed all the time. It's out of light, so to me that's preservation enough. I don't really fix the drawings or spray them or anything. No meowing today? No, I think he's chill today. He's just outside the room, relaxing, sleeping, napping, whatever he's doing. Today's been a chill day so far. Over time, yeah, no, I just keep them in a portfolio. The only time I notice smudging over time is if it's in a sketchbook for like months after I did the drawing. I mean, at that point, I'm not too concerned if a drawing in a sketchbook where the pages are like rubbing together is preserved or not months out, because I've already moved on well past that. And I've probably taken a picture of it close, like around the time after I finished it. So that's preservation enough to me. The best thing you can do is just not have the pages rubbing against each other if they're in a sketchbook, or if you have a bunch of loose papers like this, because those will transfer graphite a lot. Discord email says, I have an acrylic painting hung up. It's constantly exposed to light. I wouldn't mind if it faded, though. I don't know much about light fastness with acrylic paints and stuff like that, but I do know light has an effect on the paper or the canvas, if not the color of the paint. Just paper alone. The paper can degrade over time and yellow and whatnot if it's constantly exposed to light. So I just keep it away from light. Obviously, keep it away from moisture, humidity, and keep it from smudging with other papers, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine for as long as you're alive, at least. Now, if you have an estate that could profit off of your artwork or preserve it in a museum after your death, then maybe you should preserve it a little more than that. But that's up to you. Mango with the Gun says, your art is so good, I will eat it. Go right ahead. You can eat it. I don't mind. And thank you. It says, I'm curious why you didn't start doing traditional drawing live earlier. Because I didn't have a setup and a camera and a bunch of gear and several hours of headache-inducing troubleshooting and research online before I got to, just the right configuration and setup to have this go well, and if I decide to do it whenever I want. Now, there's also a lot of hesitance behind it. Spending the money, showing the world that I'm a human, I'm a real person, and not just a voice. And like all the concerns, what if I spend all this money on the camera and I am not comfortable regularly just recording myself draw or going live on the internet? All these thoughts, but in the end, I was like, I think it's more important that I'm able to feel comfortable preserving the art through recording and streaming, sharing the process. That felt important and urgent to me. So I just bit the bullet and finally found the time and space to allow that to happen. What camera am I using? I'm using the Panasonic Lumix G85. I got it used, and it's pretty good. I like it. I don't know a darn thing about cameras, but this one, it's pretty nice. When did I start drawing or art in general? Asks Sip. I don't know. The earliest memories of me drawing were like 17, almost 18 years ago. But I don't have memory of me making or engaging with art. I just have memory of finished drawings I did when I was a little kid. So around 18 years ago. But really as long as I can remember. Hello, welcome, Darling Kia. Darling Kia Art. I hope I said that right. Does this count as ASMR? Only if you count it as ASMR. I don't claim this to be ASMR by any stretch of the meaning, or any stretch of the word, but I don't. At this point, I don't think I mind if someone says this is ASMR. It is what you make of it. Is that a drafting pencil or a lead pencil? This is just a regular 0.5 mechanical pencil. It's not a drafting pencil, but it's got a really extended point like some drafting pencils do. I'd say this is just a regular all-purpose mechanical pencil, like for writing or whatever. I do have some drafting pencils. I don't really like drawing with them though. The sound is satisfying. I agree. I love the sound of pencil and paper. Top 3 sounds. I wanted the mic to be able to pick it up adequately to add to the experience, not the ASMR experience. I'm not thinking about that, but to the experience of drawing along. You guys are drawing along, right? I just assume everyone is. Darling Art says, I have drafting pencils with the lead that kind of falls out, but I don't really know how to use them, so they just sit in our box. Do you mean I might have something in my pencil cup? Do you mean these lead holders, like these? They kind of hold a big piece of graphite. If that's what you're talking about, that's a lead holder, and I don't think I like drawing with lead holders as much as mechanical pencils. I'd rather draw with a wooden pencil if I had to choose. I don't use them enough to talk about them, so I should probably refrain from making statements about them, if that's what you're talking about. It says it's 3 a.m. I just woke up for some reason and saw the live notif, so here I am. Well, welcome. I'm glad you joined. Glad you made the right decision at 3 a.m. Mango with the gun says, not right now. My wrist hurts. I hope your wrist gets better. And I hope it doesn't hurt again after it heals. Oh yeah, a lead holder. You kind of have to like place your thumb or something so that when it falls out, you stop it from falling all the way out. It's not a mechanical pencil. Pretty much, you're not supposed to extend it because a mechanical pencil mechanism is very different. Similar, but different. I'm Crying says cooking is art. Oh yeah, you are cooking to the stream. That is art. I agree. You are arting right now. I'm trying to make sense of some of the nonsense on a page. Don't have to make sense of all of it, but I'd like to. I don't plan most of my drawings thoroughly enough to know exactly where all these abstractions are going to go. So sometimes I just got to sit and stare at it and see what I think would be interesting before I commit to anything and make a spot like really dark and then realize later that I want it to be really light. Just gotta contemplate and ponder. I don't mind making it really, the background really rough and scratchy because I know I'm gonna smooth it all out later. Is ask you're not using an eraser for the highlights. Well, no and yes. Okay, lots of thoughts. Okay, so if you mean highlights by specular highlights, like the tiny little white dots where the light is bouncing back the most to the eye of the viewer, there aren't going to be many of those at all in this. It's mostly just going to be translucency and light, like highlight areas, points of high value like this. I don't use an eraser for them because I get more control crafting the shape around that light area with just the tip of the pencil. And I also like any areas that I know for sure I want to be as light as possible. After crafting the area around them to be dark and not touching that white area, at the very end, then I'll clean up some things with the eraser. I don't want to do all the work with the eraser because it's not as precise. I can't control the value as evenly as I can. And there's something about the purity of the untouched white of the paper that gives the most like brilliant glow, and I want to like save that for just the right area rather than making it gray and then going over it with an eraser and not getting a smooth white. Akuma asks, "Are you Pinoy?" I don't believe I'm knowledgeable as to what that is, so if I don't know, then perhaps my answer is no. Discord email asks, "How long are you willing to spend on this piece?" As long as it takes. If it takes the next 6 months, so be it. I don't think it'll take that long. But I started this yesterday, and I'm almost 5 hours into it. I'm not going to put a number on it, but it's definitely going to be closer to 20 at the very least. We'll see. He was asking if you're Filipino, like from the Philippines. Oh, I don't have any Filipino heritage to my knowledge. And forgive my ignorance. Why is everyone trying to inquire about who I am and what I am? And should I just go back to being a ephemeral being that exists only auditorily? Because I thought you were real, but now there's proof that you are. I thought you weren't real, but now there's proof that you are. Yeah, this is proof enough. This is all you need to know. I can hold pencils, and I live on Earth. Wait, I don't have to answer. I almost thought I had no choice. I, I almost thought that I was going to need to answer it, or else something would happen to me. You're like a disembodied voice. We're all trying to find its source. You know what? That's fair. That makes sense. Finally see the human parts. All right, don't make a big deal about it. Okay, we're here for drawing, not me. Right? Right? You're here for the drawing, right? And like, this isn't about me, right? You guys aren't interested in me. I'm just a conduit. What is... Young Hallie. Oh my god, you are ginger? With like a very concerned face. What do I even say to that? Everyone is curious. They can stay curious. Respectfully. I have this part of my this like function, this setting installed into my brain where there's a strong, insurmountable urge to not satisfy someone's curiosity on some things. I don't know why. I question myself. I'm like, people are just asking like a innocent question. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'm just gonna evade it. Maybe I'll bring that one up in therapy next time I get to do that. You know what, Fair? I want to be an enigma too. Yes, let me be enigmatic in peace. I'm sure many of us desire that. The battle between wanting to be mysterious yet relatable. I think to me, the battle is actually broader. It's the battle of it's not wanting to be mysterious. The battle of coming to terms with the self in the individual I am, but also putting my most personal, like the most personal aspect of my life out on the internet, which is my artistic practice. I mean, it raises a lot of questions about who I am, how closely linked to my being the art is, which I think is very closely linked. What it means to present the art but not present myself fully. I think about that stuff all the time. Maybe I'll come to some more, like I'll be able to coalesce these thoughts into a clearer self-representation. I don't know. I think about it a lot. OMG, stop. You're starting to sound like my thesis paper. I'm traumatized. What was your thesis paper on? I'm curious. You're traumatized. I'm curious. Something under the page. Oh, it was on the self. Yeah, if you stick around here, that might come up multiple times. especially now that I'm showing my hands and doing traditional on this channel. This is my first. This is my first public appearance of myself anywhere on an open internet to date. That's crazy. The self and how we as individuals have personas and how identities are fragmented, etc., etc. Yeah, I'm thinking not about fragmented identities, although that is relevant here. I feel like I'm thinking more of just the whole, the, cause I feel every fragment of an identity, at least of my own identity as I view it and experience it, every fragment of my identity only points to the whole. It's just the whole at its core. I can't see them as fragmented. But I know you didn't ask that. I just wanted to comment on it. Young Hallie says, you being able to convey the same feeling and vibe in a traditional way rather than digital is honestly amazing. Well, thank you. I think my goal with all my art is just to explore and capture my tastes. A lot of the things you see me do digitally were things I discovered on paper and then tried to mimic one in digital, and then try to mimic the digital thing on paper again, just back and forth. Oh, I missed some of what is said. The what truly defines our identity if we're not authentic to who we represent ourselves to be, if everything is selective. Like, we have different versions of ourselves around different social contexts. So what makes it authentic and true? Yeah, I know what you mean. I still really believe, from at least in my experience, that even if I have a different version of myself in the social context, the existence of that version, the essence of that version, only further points back to myself as a whole, or at least how I identify as myself. Okay, I'm going to stop talking about my thesis now. You already talked about it in your thesis. You don't have to talk about it again. I know you were traumatized by it. Sorry for indulging in that. CC Nelson, hello, welcome. Gasp, he's using the graphite. I'm using the graphite this time, and it's enjoyable. I'm glad I decided to come live on the internet with the graphite in my hand. It is the best, I gotta say. Oh, and thank you, I'm crying. We feel lucky to see more traditional art content. I think we need more. I'm trying to do my service. In fact, a lot of pondering, contemplation, planning, deliberation, whatever, on doing more traditional in this channel kind of cropped up around the time I wrote the video, Why You Really Should Share Your Art. I think now more than ever, it's super important for traditional to have its place alongside the sea of digital content, which I have nothing against. I contribute to the sea, and I probably will continue to contribute to it. But I spend long hours doing traditional, and I want to share it. So I figured, why not? What did you start with, digital or traditional? I started with traditional, like as a kid, before I remember. Just pencil and paper. Pencil on loose leaf notebook paper, probably. And then maybe like 6-ish years into that, I picked up digital and I kept them going alongside each other the whole time. I was always doing both. So like almost 18 years did traditional and 12-ish digital. I mistyped that. I'm sleepy. I miss what you typed is. I'm doing all right, CC Nelson. It feels good to work on a large piece and not be alone while I do it. I mean, being alone is all right. I don't mind doing it. Most of this will be done alone. It's nice to chat while I draw. While I have my studio session. Oh, there he goes. He woke up. He just cried. He's gonna have to cry for a little bit. I'll be there soon. Oh, my roommate will get to. Which one do you prefer, traditional or digital, or healthy mix of both? If God made me choose, it'd be traditional. But right now in my practice, I do have a healthy mix of both. Some days I'm just way deeper in a traditional mood than I am a digital mood. But I see them running concurrently for a long time. I mean, I'll do finished pieces and put them in my portfolio digitally and traditionally. I'm totally okay with both. I love both for their own reasons, but the experience of traditional, unparalleled. Best ever. And when I think about it, the reason I'm doing art is for the raw experience of it. So, I mean, traditional gives that experience to me the best. So, probably traditional, and pencil specifically. I probably won't say the same about other mediums because I don't feel that way about other mediums. It's the pencil for me. HB graphite on smooth paper. That's the best. He has risen. He has indeed risen. CC Nelson says, I've come to really like charcoal, as messy as it is. I like charcoal's fun to draw with, and it feels nice, and I love the look of it. But, I mean, you see how I'm working right now. I like to have a tiny point. I like to control every stroke. I like being in complete control. I don't like there to be anything that the medium does for me. Like charcoal gives you like an abundance of texture and messiness that can lend to the effect of what you're working on, and that's what a lot of charcoal artists play into. I don't like when the material dictates what it's going to look like for me. I like having complete control over every little minute aspect, and graphite gives me that control. So that's why I prefer it. And I like that graphite kind of stays put, you know, it's not as loose. But charcoal has its place. It's definitely very fun. Darling Kia Art says, I have felt intimidated by digital art in the past, mostly because I just couldn't comprehend how to do it. I have in recent months and years been doing more digital art. It feels like in this day and age, it is expected of artists to know how to do both traditional and digital. I had to use charcoal for. Well, I'm gonna respond to the first two first. Yeah, it does. In fact, I feel like it. My read of the current of art culture in this generation is that the expectation is that you do digital, and if you do traditional, especially if you do it somewhat decently, there's all sorts of reactions you might get. They're like, wow, you're doing traditional. Wow, isn't that harder? Or, oh, you can't undo because people are so very conditioned to only doing digital. People start their practices on digital. This was fascinating for me to learn. People's first encounter with learning how to draw is digitally nowadays. That's very common. And so that creates a sort of okay, not everyone thinks this, but to some people, they view it a bit of a hierarchy between digital and traditional. And then people that do traditional, to some people, are viewed as like either elitist because they're not doing digital, or more skilled because they're doing traditional. And I don't believe any of that. I think you should just do what you feel like doing because you feel like doing it. I just so happen to feel like doing both traditional and digital, and I have a healthy relationship with both of them. And you should just stick to what you want to do and follow your nose. And the last thing you said was I had to use charcoal for class, and now I'm not against it as I was before. I just don't like it getting all over my hands. I've got to agree with you. I don't like that either. It's fun to do some figure drawing and gestural stuff with it. Just loose and quick stuff. That's where my tastes lie with it. Make with the Gun says, watching this now makes me want to draw so bad. You should draw immediately after you heal and don't hurt yourself. Let the urge to draw build up inside of you. That's a good thing. Your soul yearns for it. CC Nelson says, much of my life drawing works I did was in charcoal, aside from stuff like drawing head studies, hand studies, feet studies, all the singular parts of the body. I've done, in the couple of art classes I had as like electives in high school and college, they would hand out some willow charcoal sticks and the regular like compressed hard charcoal sticks, and we do some still lifes of like plants and random items the teacher would bring in. I felt I only liked drawing charcoal if it's on a smooth paper with soft charcoal, with a soft charcoal pencil specifically, that I can sharpen to a very, very long point and draw at the side of it or draw at the point of it. That's fun to do. Get better, Mingo. Wrist injuries are no joke. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The hierarchy. Oh, I missed the first comment. Yeah. Yeah, OMG, there are some 12-year-old artists that learned digital drawing first, and it blows my mind. That's crazy to comprehend. It's like I want to learn how to draw, and they start they start learning to draw on their phone. That's crazy. Like I would think I started learning to draw as a kid on a pencil and paper because that's the most immediately available thing I had. I would think that's what people would do, but maybe there's another layer to the conditioning, is that everyone sees people doing digital and they think drawing, and you imagine that. That's what they do. They don't just pick up the nearest utensil and just start playing with it, you know. But that was my experience. I don't know. It's interesting phenomenon of these generations to come. Yeah, the hierarchy of traditional versus digital is messed up, and with the hierarchy of traditional versus digital messed with my mental health a lot in the past. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. That's a thing. Just make your art and enjoy it. What happened to that? Huh? What happened to having fun? What have we done? Now we have to have fun the right way. Who said that? I'm going to take a short little break. I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright. Hello, hello. I'm back, and it's time to draw some more. CC Nelson says, imagine him drawing fan art in his style. It would literally be the sickest. Are you talking about me? He, as in me? I don't think it would be sick because there would be no care or love put into it. Because it's nothing. It's nothing I would do fan art of. Because I am not a fan art artist. But nonetheless, I appreciate the sentiment. I'm Crying says marinated mushrooms feel like slugs. Interesting. I didn't know that. Like what kind of slugs? And what kind of mushrooms? So I can avoid both of them. Slimy wet slugs. Okay. I'll avoid the slimy wet slugs. Thank you for the warning. You're more of a fine artist, yeah. Yeah, that's just who I was destined to be. CC Nelson says, still respect though, because I'm not either per se, but I'll throw in a few here and there. I'm mainly obsessed with my own characters right now. I mean, that's the place to be. Just be completely in your head and only interested in you. Just be selfish. Be completely selfish. That's how you make the best art. And if someone tells you to draw something, block them. You only draw what you want to draw. That's what I do. I'm Crying says, draw your cat. I'll draw him when he asks me to. I'll take his request. If my cat said that to me, I'd be very freaked out because I didn't know he could say that. All these years he didn't talk to me. And that's the first thing that comes out of his mouth. I'd have a lot of questions for him. Darling Kia Art says, it feels like you're expected to do fan art, but I'm not a fan of. Oh, but I'm a fan of what I'm a fan of. That doesn't mean I want to do fan art. Not sure why, but when I try to do fan art, I get art block. When you try to do something you don't want to do, you'll feel resistance. I think that's just the key indicator that you should probably not do it, and that's why I don't do it. And there aren't a bunch of things that would rise to the occasion for me that I'd want to do fan art of. I do fan art of classical piano pieces. I'll do a drawing representing Scriabin's Fifth Piano Sonata. I'll do that. Big fan of that stuff. But I don't even watch movies. I don't read comics. I don't play games. I don't watch shows much, really. What is there visually, like in the world of visual media, what is there for me to be a fan of that I'd want to redraw? I'm also just the type of person that very strongly wants to investigate what's in my head, figure out me, find interesting visual resolutions to concepts I find appealing. So that's what I'm into, And from that angle, it's fan art of the things I'm interested in. I'm a fan of those things. So, but that's it. I block your cat, says I'm crying. No, I will never block my cat. He gets a pass. That old man, I love him. I would never block him. But you all, I don't know. Might have to block one of you if you ask me to do fan art of your favorite anime character. I feel like a cat would block you first before you even get the chance to block them. Maybe you have a point right there. I could definitely see my cat blocking me. CC Nelson says, did I just hear classical knowledge? Yes, you did. There's a lot of it. Big influence on me. Music as visual art is a nice concept. Yeah, I'm not like one-to-one depicting my musical interests. It's not direct fan art. It's just that I'm more inspired by non-visual art or non-visual phenomenon in the world than I am visual phenomenon. At least at least as far as other people's art is concerned. At this point in my development, I don't take a lot of inspiration from other art unless it's like something very different from what I do, like sculpture or something. I do like a lot of sculpture, but most of my aesthetic consumption and fulfillment comes either through my own art or through listening to piano pieces, specific piano repertoire that I find deeply satisfying. I'm Crying says, I view fan art as a practice sketch or just practice drawings for fun. I can see how sharing fan art can help with engagement. Yeah. Doing a lot of trendy or popular things is better for engagement, but the question is, what kind of people do you want to be engaging? What kind of crowd do you want to cultivate a following of? And do you want to, have around people that are interested in that thing you did for engagement, or people that are interested in your non-clickbaity, non-engagement centered personal stuff, that doesn't top the charts or cater to the algorithm. If you're interested in doing that stuff, you should only do that stuff, because then you'll get the people interested in that stuff and not people that the algorithm brought in because what you did was topical, but that's not what you really want to do. What you know about that Sibelius violin concerto? Nothing. My classical knowledge is extremely tunnel visioned on piano repertoire from the 1800s to the mid 1900s. Just that 150-year span. It's super concentrated on that. Piano only. Nothing else. That's the that's the limitation of my knowledge. Well, I say limitation, but it's very expansive in that area. I know a lot of things. But as soon as you step outside the piano world, I don't know anything. Brahms is great. I will say I don't listen to Brahms as frequently as other composers, but I do enjoy some Brahms, especially late opus numbers, like the 112s through 18s, around there. The intermezzi, the shorter pieces, very nice, very contemplative and deep. Well, if I'm a fan of something that I'm Crying says, well, if I'm a fan of something that I choose to do for art, I'd love for people to follow because of our shared interests. Yeah, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. You shouldn't do what a lot of people find themselves feeling like they have to do nowadays, which is doing fan art because it cultivates a following. And yes, there is a shared interest in the thing you're doing, but they know within themselves they don't actually want to only do that, because that same following that they garnered from their shared interest in the fan art won't care at all about anything that's not that. At least it tends to be that way. That's just what the numbers are. So I don't know. It's better if someone doesn't find themselves in that trap, like they have to please the algorithm and the fan base that they built. You should at all times do what you want to do and be comfortable doing that regardless of what the metrics are, as far as your personal art is concerned, at least. Debussy and Ravel. Oh, I love Debussy and Ravel. I think I love Ravel a little more. Huge fan of a lot of his works. To me, some of them go without mention. like Brahms, Debussy, Ravel, Rachmaninoff, Chopin, Liszt, blah 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 blah. To me, that goes without mention. That's commonplace, very common stuff. But I love it. Great stuff. That's the foundation of my interests. But the past few years, I've been more into 20th century work. Lots of where do I start? Lots of great Slavic pianists, composers. The composers influenced by Scriabin. Lots of Scriabin influence. I'd say he's the biggest. He's probably the biggest influence on my visual art, and he's one of the biggest influences on my my own style of piano playing and composition. Love the 20th century stuff. Something about your art. CC Nelson says something about your vibe gives me Debussy, and your art gives Satie vibes. Interesting. I don't think Satie at all. I can see the Debussy. The preludes come to mind, for example. I could see that. I'm not thinking about it, but that's an apt comparison. I don't see Satie. I'm not really sure. Maybe some of the Gymnopédie, perhaps. But when I think of Satie, I think of like the Nocien. I think of Vexations and the other quirky pieces that he's written. My classical story has turned me into a classical nerd, if you couldn't tell, but prior to that, as a figure skater, I've been used to hearing classical music being skated to. That's actually my second time hearing that. From the second, the first time I met someone that was also into figure skating that had a shared interest in classical music. That's pretty cool. Although a lot of my impression is a lot of the exposure to classical music through figure skating happens to be from an angle that I don't engage with it much. So most of the composers you may know of and listen to more might be composers that I either gloss over or just aren't on my radar. I listen to a lot of obscure stuff and dissonant stuff and stuff that I feel like I can't just say, hey, this is really cool for this reason and show people that, because there's context. and like music history, and like why is this so interesting? Well, it's because in the 20th century, this particular harmonic and tonal development was taking place, and this is influenced by this composer. You got to be familiar with the composer they're influenced by. I feel like a lot of my music is like that, or a lot of my music taste art is heavily hinged on the historical context and the development of music and piano literature. I hate that I've gotten more graphite on a page because now I have to use this. This is annoying to use, but I don't like graphite on the side of my hand, so I deal with it. CC Nelson says that also, but yeah, that also because it's old school. And even though we have more freedom to skate to whatever, it's still often used. Oh, well, that's interesting. I'm glad people are exposed to it in a positive way and that it's not dying. What I hate though is that a lot of them don't know how to diversify their music selections, so I'll hear the same pieces over and over. I mean, I get that. I need a new makeup sponge. Mine is completely falling apart. Oh no, I'm crying since I believe my mushroom burned. I'm very sorry to hear that. I hope you enjoyed cooking them, at least. I hope my stream wasn't too distracting. I think I want to take out the wooden pencil and go over more of the background. Just fill in some big areas. Very sloppily as well. Even though I could definitely be neater about it. I want it crisp, but I got charred instead on it. Hopefully it's still good. Hopefully there's still a use for that. Bring out the big gun. Well, this is the easy part. Things get real after I bring out the small guns, which is the .3 mechanical pencil, and then start going over the background to get it ultra smooth. That's where it really starts. CC Nelson asks, how long have you been going on YouTube for with this channel? Started this channel in late 2021, so almost 4 years. And I've been streaming on it the way that I have been lately for almost a year. Sharpen this. I'm crying says, what's going on in the background? I think you heard me sharpening my pencil. If that's what you're talking about. Oh, what's going on in the background of the drawing? Good question. I'm gonna create a soup of not charcoal, soup of graphite. Make a bunch of atmospherics in the background. It's gonna be very dark, very black, and it's gonna fade down a little bit to like a medium-ish gray. There's gonna be like a divider, sort of. Which is, I believe, is the hair. And then there are a bunch of rings cutting through it, in and out and around it. Very abstract. Yeah, the big challenge is this is all going to be a plain dark area. It's just going to be a gradient, a smooth gradient down. That's the hope. We'll see if I'm able to pull it off, because it's actually really difficult to keep it smooth the whole time. Abstract piece with the subject is wild. That's like all of my art. The background never makes sense. I'm an abstract artist. I just put a figure in the middle. Something to latch onto. The background is actually going to be smoother if I only use the smaller pencil. The smaller the pencil stays, the point that's touching the paper stays, the smoother of an effect you get, the darker it'll look. But I just want to lay down graphite really fast and quick. And it will look rougher and messier if I use a wooden pencil, but it'll be faster in the beginning. Just kind of lay a base. So I'm gonna go all over all of this like numerous times. I don't know how many times. Surrealism? I don't think so. Maybe I am sometimes inspired by and incorporate surrealistic elements, but I don't think surrealism is what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. That's the real answer. Don't you have graphite powder? No, I don't have graphite powder. And I don't think I want to use it. I have, maybe I have it in my desk. Let's see. Don't have it in my desk, but I have a pan pastel. It's just powdered black pastel. I don't like using it. I'd rather just fill the background with only pencil, only HB graphite, because, and I'd rather it be with a pencil because I have the utmost control over it. I kind of said this earlier. I don't like when the medium does stuff for me, and what it does is the result of its natural look. If that kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, I'm working with graphite. It's going to look like graphite, but I don't like when a large effect of what happens visually is based off of effects of that medium. Like the messiness of the powdered graphite, that it could be patchy. Maybe you could use that for a certain effect. But I don't like that. I don't like that it's going all over the place. I want to put it there manually. Maybe it's part of my stubbornness, but something about wanting to do every little bit by hand is part of my practice. So I'd rather not use graphite powder and avoid the mess associated with it. And I'd rather just brute force it by hand. It feels the best that way for me. Oh yeah, definitely. I am definitely a control freak. I mean, even digital, when the brush lays down a certain texture, I almost immediately destroy the texture it puts down and force it to look at the way I want it to look, and not just how it looks on its own. I want to do everything. This isn't the most enjoyable thing, or not enjoyable, but not the most entertaining thing to do on stream. Fill a large background. But I want to lay down the base, at least. I'm Crying says, can't wait for your out of control arc. Well, the irony is that the truth is that we're not in control of anything. So I find it interesting that I feel such a strong urge to control every aspect of my art when deep down I know that I'm not in control. So I'm already in that arc. Maybe I'm in the arc where I acknowledge that and I'm not just blindly under that truth. Still calming though, I like to conjure the most calming chaos I can imagine. That's one of my many goals in art. Peaceful turmoil, discordant tranquility. I'm crying says, well, my friend Will sings a different tune. Don't you talk about your friend Will in here. Take you and your friend elsewhere. CC Nelson says, okay, I gotta say, has anyone told you that you have such a soothing narrator-like voice? Because you do. Well, thank you. That's one of the nicer things people have said to me about my voice, so I appreciate that one. Or at least one of the less unhinged things. I don't know what I narrate other than my YouTube videos. Oh no, what did someone say? OMG, you got that ASMR boyfriend voice. Unfortunately, yes. I hope by making that example, you're not also saying that, right? Like, why did you pick that example? Do you, on some level, think that? I hope not. I'm Crisis podcasts, audiobooks, anime, movie, ASMR, etc. I've heard all of those, yes. I don't know what to say. I don't do that stuff. I'm just drawing. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I will say IPX. Says, it do hit that ASMR tone really good, and it's all the more soothing with how insightful and articulate you are. I don't know what that emoji is for. I don't know why you picked that one. You gotta be careful with that one. Sorry, nervous. Okay. Okay, if you meant to use the nervous sweat emoji, then you're forgiven. And thank you for your compliment. Joe, don't do that to me. I mean, you said it. You picked that example. Yeah, I'm just making sure. You can say yes. I work for $100 an hour. That's a modest rate. Environment noise. It's not much, but it's honest work. The career paths I've been told to take if art doesn't work out. I cannot disclose them here. But people have said some things. And I don't know yet if I will take their advice. IPX asks, aside from art, did you have any other interests, hobbies? A lot of interest in hobbies. Most of them revolve around art, like visual art, but there's also music, piano. I play piano. I do some composing. Many of my hobbies are not things I can do regularly, like gardening. I love gardening. I like going on walks. It's really, that's it though. Just piano and drawing. Piano and drawing. I like making these YouTube videos as well, and streaming. Those are also hobbies of mine. But that's about it. Kyolksei becomes a VTuber. Never. Now that I can guarantee. I will never do. Wrong timeline. What do I need some PNG cutout taking up half the screen for? This is all that matters. This piece of paper. That's all I need. IPX says, I'd figure you'd be a book type person, but if your piano is as beautiful as your art, I can only really imagine. Well, thank you. That's subjective. It might be horrendous compared to my art, but who knows? I like to think they inform each other. I think I'm just okay having super, super, super narrow interests. I'm interested in the idea of getting into reading deeply, but I'm already really deep into a few other things already. I just haven't given reading the space in my life, but maybe one day I could see it happening. I'm crying. Says it's good. Oh, thank you. He sometimes plays on his Discord. Yes, I do. Maybe I'll play some piano later. If not today, sometime in the next few days. It's been a while since I've played in my server, but I do like to have an audience at times. Our art reflects our tastes, after all. Yes, that's very true. You want to hop in some time in chat? Absolutely. You should do it. I try to make myself present there at least a handful of times a week, so you should definitely stop by. Wait, he has a server? I gotta do better at advertising this, apparently. Yes, I do have a server. That's where I'm more active than I am on YouTube. Darling Kia Art says, I listen to audiobooks, but mostly I listen to YouTubers. Yeah, I'm mostly in the listening to either music or a couple of YouTube videos in the background phase, but I want to get back into my audiobook listening for long hours of drawing. It's nice to have something playing occasionally. The link is in the description, Nelson. You just click that and click all the other links. Click every link in the description on every stream, on every video. Click all the links. And yeah. Thank you very much. So audiobooks is one way to read books while drawing. Yeah, I have a couple in the queue. There's one that I've been meaning to listen to for like half a year now, or over half a year actually, called the Practice and Science of Drawing by Harold Speed. It's a very interesting book. I'm only like 2 chapters in, and lots of life stuff happened, so I'm going to be re-listening to it very soon. But it's got some. It's a little dated, but it's got some. Every now and then you'll hear a really profound one-liner about the nature of drawing and sight, and I really do love it. There's a free audiobook version on YouTube that I'm listening to, but I think I should read that book. It's such a wordy, complicated book that if you are distracted for even a second, you got to rewind and re-listen to the whole drawn out narrative line. I'm crying says, damn, I don't know, but scratching the paper with a mechanical pencil is scary to me. Do you mean like with the metal part of it? Like indenting a groove into it? That's not something I'm ever scared of. This is pretty thick paper I'm drawing on. There's been a couple of times where the lead was like retracted into it, and I went like this onto it. I cringe when I do that. I don't like doing that, but I don't find I ever indent the paper or scratch the paper. It's always very smooth the whole time. So And I'm not careful with the pencil, so I think it's just the paper that's really good. Hashtag ad, absolutely. I gotta advertise when the opportunity presents itself. Otherwise, no one will know. Like how people can watch all the videos and not know there's a Discord server. I gotta do something about that. You gotta be in a Discord. Time to invade a new server. Be right there. Thank you. Thank you. Going hard with the lead is scary. LO. Maybe because I've only had wimpy paper. Yeah, the wimpy paper will be a hindrance to going hard, but it's you. Graphite is fairly soft, at least HB, fairly soft and malleable. It just powderizes into the fiber of the paper when you press really hard on thicker paper. And it gets a nice smooth effect when you do it. It doesn't scratch the paper. It's nice and smooth and even buttery at times. It's nice. I recommend it. Heck yeah, that's what this is. Smooth bristle paper. I am not rich. I just value spending money occasionally on really good paper more than I do frequently on other things that don't matter as much to me. Sometimes the big pads can be like, I'm in the US, so they can be very, like if you're not used to buying paper, these big pads of paper, and you're used to like sketchbook paper, it's more than you would think to spend, but that's just because you're not used to spending the money on that sort of thing. In the US, it's only a $1, a couple dollars per sheet, and it comes in a pad of like 15 sheets. So that's like 30-ish dollars. To me, it's always worth it. If it makes me, if it helps me achieve the effects I want and enjoy drawing more, absolutely, I'm going to do it. It feels honorable to buy paper for the sake of making art. There's a unique feeling associated with artistic purchases that I don't get from any other type of purchase I make. It's a very fulfilling sense. I don't know. Especially if you know you're going to be using it regularly. You're not just like buying art supplies just to buy them. Like if you know you're going to use this whole pad of paper within the next year-ish, it feels right. Then again, the brand is what you're paying for as well. Yeah, sometimes. This actually is not, like I have one pad of Strathmore bristle paper, which was definitely cheaper. I'm sorry, more expensive than the store name bristle paper pads right next to it in the art store. But I got it because I mean, it could have been in my head, but I was like, oh, this one feels a little bit smoother, maybe. But for this bigger paper, I just got the store brand because I was like, this is smooth enough. I mean, I'm a bit of a cheap person at times, but if they actually feel different, I will get the one that feels better, even if it costs a little more. I think I'm gonna wrap up pretty soon. I've been on for 2.5 hours and did a decent amount on this drawing. Stick around for a bit before I wrap this up. Man, that much time that much time already went by. Yeah, it's the fastest. I feel like my day just started. I feel like I just woke up not too long ago. When I didn't. Drawing has that ability. I'm trying to ask, would you ever stream on Twitch? I gotta be honest, I'm not really interested in Twitch as a platform. I know people. Stream art on Twitch. And I also know people like can like dual stream on YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. I'm just not interested in the platform as is. I don't use it for anything. My audience is here and not on Twitch. I don't know. I like YouTube stream. I like that it archives on my channel instantly as a just as a regular video, with the chat preserved, and it stays there forever. It doesn't disappear after 14 days. It just makes sense to me to just stream on YouTube and then upload on YouTube and then keep it that way. It's where I feel the most comfortable. I don't have to manage another website that I'm unfamiliar with. CC Nelson says, I was just coming back from work when I hopped in and noticed you were live. Well, serendipitous timing. I'm glad you decided to stop by. All right. I'm gonna stop. Discord email says, I don't know, hate that YouTube Live is doing this XP point thingy, trying to be like Twitch. I also hate it. Why do you think I'm on YouTube? It's because YouTube is not Twitch. But that's what they do. They do the thing no one asks for and no one likes, but it's relevant and trendy and competitive, and they gotta stay on top, and shareholder value, something like that. I don't know. I don't work at YouTube. Anyway, thank you all for staying around and watching a drawing and talking about the drawing and talking about other things and being on my channel. I really appreciate it. This is where I say goodbye. So, goodbye everyone. Goodbye CC Nelson and I'm Crying at Discord email. I'm Crying, you are number one in this artificial leaderboard that's actually pay to win. If you donate to the stream when I unlock that, it puts you higher up on the leaderboard. It's completely rigged. But we'll worry about that later. I'll wait till I unlock that part of my channel where people can donate, and then I'll incentivize you all to compete for number one with your money. But anyway, goodbye everyone. Goodbye IPX. Absolutely, I will stream again and again and again. So I hope you're able to catch one of the next ones. Bye everyone.